The topic is SAP Treasury and Risk Management in SAP S4HANA, where we will be discussing, there are multiple modules, and we will be discussing few things like what is SAP HANA and S4HANA, which is the topic one is describe SAP HANA and SAP S4HANA. I'm going to open this PPT up. I would like to agenda that we will be covering is we are going to understand what is SAP S4HANA, how we have seen the upgrades in SAP S4HANA, how we have come till SAP HANA ECC and the different versions from R3 to SAP S4HANA. What has been our journey in that aspect? So we are going to see that. So here, if you see, we could see a graph diagram of understanding how SAP has progressed to S4 HANA. So initially, when we were in our 1979, there is an upgrade to R1 and SAP R2 was introduced as a mainframe-based architecture with two-tier real-time processing. When we talk about the R2, it was a two-tier real-time processing, and it has the production planning module which was integrated with the enterprise system for the large organization. So this is in the 1979. When we have moved to the 1992, basically SAP R3, there was a major milestone, or I could say a major shift to a three-tier architecture database, application and client layer. When we talk about R3 systems, this was a globally accepted and a very flexible and real-time processing system that was, upgraded to. And it covered various business functions like finance, sales, production, HR. So once we moved from R2 to R3, there was a major upgrade in the SAP structure here. Now the flexibility and the user friendliness and everything was improved in here. As in how we see an upgrade, there is an improvement in the structures. And when we see in the 2000s, which is 2004, a new version of the ERP suite, which is ECC ERP Central Component, was introduced in 2004. So basically, it was nothing but a platform to connect SAP and non-SAP applications. So when we moved to ERP, that was the time when the actual integration platform was, created for an integration between SAP and non-SAP applications. NetWeaver also allowed businesses to access and share data across the system, which is a legacy system, an ECC system, or any system, be it a non-SAP system as well as an SAP system. And there was an introduction to a web-based interface in 2004. Okay. And then we moved to SAP S4 HANA, which was a major transition, which led to a boom in the industry, and it turned many of the businesses from different ERPs which they were using at that time, which was Oracle, and many other ERP systems were moved to this SAP S4 HANA. It was basically built to leverage the HANA capabilities, where HANA was a very new ERP suite that time, and it was designed for a simplified data model and with real-time analytics, enhanced user experience, and other sort of the best part, I would say, to user, it was a Fiori application interface, which was something which gave a user-friendly experience to people who did not belong to the SAP background. So here we see that these are the core lines of business solution that we have integrated in SAP S4 HANA and SAP HANA, where the integration with different these success factors, Concur. We have SAP S4 HANA manufacturing, supply chain. So these are the modules which SAP offers in the enterprise management. We have sales, we have service, we have marketing, we have sourcing, procuring, and research and development. So this diagram shows that. Now, key aspects of S4 HANA, as you must be aware, with S4 HANA, we have built in various key aspects, which were none other than we have HANA capabilities, choice of deployment between on-premise, cloud. So SAP HANA, SAP S4 HANA, provides us a choice of deployment in terms of on-premise or on cloud, and then further we were able to choose between a hybrid model. So that is the kind of capabilities it was offering. There was a user experience with the Fiori app coming into picture. It became more user friendly with the reporting aspects. We could see bar diagrams, pie charts, and all those things in the reporting aspect. and also the work pattern was introduced and improved a lot. Now, moving to describing SAP S/4HANA and S/4HANA, I think probably this would just give you a picture of the technical and business values. So, how SAP S/4HANA is working in the current system, how they have, reduced the time frame, reduced the user efforts, reduced the, how they have improved the efficiency, efficacy, and everything, how they are providing the flexibility to user and connecting different modules at the same time with a real-time update and upgrade. So this is what how SAP S4 HANA works. And okay, so here we move down to the business suite, which is ERP and on-premise. So you would have seen that the major changes that has come in picture from ERP to SAP S4 HANA is that we have firstly the Fiori app introduced in SAP S4 HANA, and then we have the implementation choice of using it in on-premise or cloud edition. So we could implement S4 HANA in on-premise and on cloud. When we talk about the cloud version is a SaaS, which is software as a service offering hosted on SAP's data center. It is on major cloud providers, which is like Microsoft Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud. There we have a deployment speed since it is hosted by the SAP itself. Implementation times are generally shorter, and it is like more feasible option for users in case if they are looking for a rapid deployment in terms of cloud editions, which we see. Okay, so this we have already discussed where what SAP S/4HANA offers us, and there are multiple areas where modules where we see SAP Success Factors, SAP Fieldglass, SAP Ariba. In your during your FICO duration also you must be getting in contact with all these SAP applications where we are working with sometimes with Concur, we are working with Success Factors in different areas of work. So yeah, I was pretty sure that you must be aware of this, and we see that after SAP S4 HANA came into came with an upgrade, and we moved from ECC to S4 HANA. We have the SAP Fiori applications and tools, which made major changes in how we are going to enter our day-to-day contracts, day-to-day postings, and how we will run everything with a Fiori-based experience, basically, and which was nothing but it was task based experience. It was more easy where we have Fiori tiles, we could create different Fiori apps, and it is more easier and accessible for users which are not very familiar with SAP. It was very simple, role based, responsive, coherent, because the app that speak the same language. As the users are not very much familiar with SAP. They need something where it is more easier to evaluate, access, and do all those things. We will see all these things while we are, seeing the Fiori apps. We can see the Fiori tiles. There is transactional data, fact sheets, analytical data available. So as I mentioned in my previous conversation, that analytical data provided a very, factual fact sheets provided a very factual views to users who did not understand the SAP terms. So when they could see the diagram, a non-SAP person can easily understand using the bar graphs, using the fact sheets, the data and the reporting aspect became more easier and more user friendly. Now coming to SAP Fiori application and tools, this is how the SAP Fiori app looks like. And this is the SAP icon. We would see these are the Fiori application sets, and we have made Fiori application tiles. These are the Fiori apps in here. We will also see that in the system. We have seen for this thing SAP S4 HANA. Now we can talk about SAP Treasury in brief. What is SAP Treasury and Risk Management Solution? How we are actually using SAP? For what reason we are using SAP Treasury and Risk Management Solution? So Hedel, I just want to be a little upfront here and tell you that my main aspect and my main purpose is to make you very much clear about the base. So, sometimes what happens is that we might focus on the complex aspects, but I think if the base is clear, SAP is a huge, you can say it's a pool of learning. So you never stop learning in SAP. So I just want you to go ahead and, focus on the base and the, standard aspects of things, so that if you are clear with your basic, you would be easily able to continue in the normal operations. And if there is not too much customization, and I would just give you a brief with my experience, we see there is a very few customizations that we do in Treasury, and that too, it is on the reporting aspect. So everything that happens in Treasury is probably mostly standard, and for simple certain things, we do have bodies and everything, but mostly things are pretty standard in Treasury. Now, we would be covering corporate treasury, the strategic role and main task, and then we will be seeing the end-to-end treasury and risk management solution map. Coming to the corporate treasury strategic role and main task. So, as we know that there are certain key drivers identified in treasury for the treasury implementation, we can see that there is a business partnership, operations, and compliance, which is basically we engage with the business, to get their requirements and have a real-time analysis of their financial and operational business scenarios, so that we can actually find out what is their finance processes, how we can make them more efficient, how we can make it more better in how they can use those particular financial tools to improve their liquidities. And then further, we have global regulatory compliance, which is nothing but their accounting and tax standards across different currencies that they are using. Moving to the next slide, we have the strategic role and main tasks. As we see that treasury is not it's, if we talk about FSCM in treasury and risk management, we have multiple areas that are covered under treasury operations. So there are different role based, user based, who are handling different areas in treasury. So there are treasury operation managers who takes care of payments and bank communications. So here we would say the treasury operation manager, cash manager, treasury finance, these are different user authorizations and user roles that we are providing to different persons in a particular firm or in a particular organization, and they'd be handling different areas. So like treasury operation manager would cover payments and bank communication, so anything related to sending, receiving payments, in-house cash, any financial services, any integration with the bank, and any sort of payment approvals and batching would be handled by the treasury operations manager. And related, coming to cash manager, so as the term says, cash and liquidity management, it is very important for a firm to understand the cash and liquidity needs of a particular, a firm or organization at a particular point of time. So that cash manager looks that every area or the data is feeded into the cash management, be it payables, be it receivables, be it treasury, in different instruments, and that helps us to understand in real time what is our liquidity need, what is our cash inflow and outflow at that particular duration, and that makes it better to understand on how we have to fund further. Either we have a shortage of cash or we are experiencing a flow of cash, so we can go for an investment strategy. If we have a shortage of cash, we can go for a borrowing strategy. So that's all is dependent on cash and liquidity management. So it is very important for the cash manager to take care of the integration with other modules. The treasury finance manager who handles the debt and investment strategies. So as I mentioned, based on the decision of cash manager that we are in need of a borrowing or an investment, the debt and investment strategy is decided by the treasury finance manager, who will ensure that the investments and borrowings that we are doing are at the best rates and the lowest cost if it's a borrowing. Then we talk about the financial risk manager. If financial risk manager is nothing but who evaluates any market risk or interest rate risk or any sort of risk that we might foresee in our future, and he provides the effective steps to mitigate those sort of risks.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features? Bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
So, coming to the integrated solution, where we see that there are multiple organization or multiple parties which are involved in a particular treasury process. When we say multiple parties, we have banks, which are our counterparties, we have brokers, we have a financial system, we have the commodity markets playing in the picture, who control the rates, the interest rates, the exchange rates, and we have the procurement and sales. So when we talk about these markets, these financial risk management, we see that once multiple parties are being involved in this, there are a different type of risk associated with this, which needs a real-time analysis, which needs an insight to to see how the financial markets and commodity exposures are reacting, and to make the respective decision making according to that. For that reason, we would need the different parties, different organizations coming in picture. We need this integrated solution to have a coordination between all these parties. So we, for that reason, we have financial risk management, cash management, and debt and investment separately. So financial risk management would review the analysis of the action, any insight of the financial market and commodity exposures. The cash management will take care of the accurate and instant assessment of global cash positions that is coming in picture, and the liquidity which is there, the liquidity position of the company, the in-house banking, and also the multi-bank connectivity gateway. So these will be taken care by the management. Excuse me. And coming to debts and investments, the debts and investments would cover our financial instruments, which involves trading in different money market securities, forex, derivatives, and other markets, and controlling the global accounting compliance. So that is why it is very much important that all these parties are integrated properly, and there is a proper coordination to understand and have the best decision making in terms of our cash and liquidity and the debt and borrowing, the debt and investments. Now moving to the actual TRM solution map with integration, where we see how the end-to-end treasury and risk management solution work. Here, if you see, these are different process steps, which covers payments and bank communication, cash and liquidity. Then we have a box with debt and investments and financial risk management, which we will be covering in the future sessions. In the upcoming 1 or 2 sessions, we'll be covering more detailed the debt and investment and the financial risk management. Basically, the debt and investment involves our money market, any sort of loans, any short-term investments that we are going to do, any sort of investments, debts, borrowings that we are going to take on a short-term basis. And then financial risk management, what are the risks associated with different types of, exposures, risk analysis would be done. There will be different market risk, credit risk associated with different sort of instruments. So we are going to look into that in the upcoming sessions. Now, this is the diagram which very briefly describes the entire TRM architecture with a proper integration with different type of third parties. So when we say different type of third parties, all in one, like we say, when we are running a treasury business or when we are implementing treasury in SAP, it's not just SAP that functions. We have multiple third parties involved. For that reason, like in case if you have multiple market rates being uploaded, there are marketplaces, these third parties like FX Hall, 360T, treasury systems would be involved, and they would be sending us data related to our, debt and investments. They would be sending data related to our market rates and exchange rates, whatever the data we would need. These different type of third parties like Reuters, Bloomberg, trade repositories like DTCC, they'll be having a different involvement contribution in this entire treasury process for either an incoming or an outgoing sort of data with SAP. And then at the same point of time, we do have banks, which are one of the major important key counterparties or key persons in our entire treasury solution, with whom we'll be interacting on a very frequent basis in both incoming and outgoing manner. We might be doing in Swift transfer, or we might be using host to host. It depends. So every business has a different sort of requirement. So based on that, this diagram shows you the very gist of how entire SAP TRM is integrated with different. So coming to the big picture is they are, giving a brief about what are the different types of risk analyzers, what are different types of, hedging. In hedge, how do you do the exposure management? How do you do the hedge accounting? What is a hedging? How the transaction manager process works? What are the different types of instruments that we are going to cover? This shows you can just have a quick glance at it. And because any which ways these topics are going to be covered in future, I will not, go in detail. So you can have a quick glance of this diagram, and then we'll move further. Now coming to Fiori TRM tiles, this is also something which we are going to see as in how we are going to progress in our deal creation, settlements of deals, posting to accounting, doing the reporting. So SAP Fiori has individual Fiori apps for doing these transactions. With an upgrade, we have separate FX transactions like create FX swap, create FX option for spot forward, forex. We have different Fiori apps, and these Fiori apps we can group under a particular tile so that it becomes more user friendly and user can access to these Fiori apps. And this is how the data from different modules are posted to accounting, and this is the areas from the treasury and risk management would involve the major contributors like business partners. These are the actual configuration aspect we are going to cover, the configuration of how the BPs are configured in different sort of roles, how the basic functions configuration is made, how the transaction manager, like creation of the product type, transaction types, other configuration. This is how this is done. And then we have hedge management and hedge accounting also in picture. They have market risk analyzers, which will be, in evaluation of the market risk associated with the fluctuations, different fluctuations. And we have credit risk analyzers, which will be helping us understand the capabilities of the creditors. And then we have different sorts of portfolio analyzers. These are the different product types which we are going to see in which is involved in a particular treasury and risk management module. Uh, the configuration related to each product type, I would say, is more or less similar. There are few here's and there's which are different. Each configuration works around creating of few steps which goes around similar in all aspects. There are certain things which are different in that, which we will be seeing in future. We have money market, forex, derivatives, securities, and trade finance. Moving to the transaction manager. So as the name says, transaction manager wholly describes the entire process of configuring the SAP Treasury instruments to running the SAP cycle. So when we talk about configuration of a particular instrument and running the cycle end to end, is a configuration end to end from product types till the accounting, how the accounting will be involved, how the accounting will be fetched, how the deals will be created, how the settlement would be done, how we are going to post it to accounting, how is the cash transfer is going to happen, how we are going to, if we are going to roll over or terminate any deal. So everything is covered under transaction manager process. So this is the process of deal creation. Now, I would just probably, give only an overview, because before that, before the transaction manager main process, we need to do the system. We need to set up the system with all the initialization, which is in different, module for us. So you understand just the gist of the process, which is there is a deal creation process. Deal creation is always like it can be done in multiple ways. We can create the deals manually. There are fast entry functions available for creating a deal. We can also create a deal automatically by connection to the bank or online marketplace. But usually in SAP, when we are doing an implementation with a client, we suggest them a manual deal creation. We might automate other processes like posting to accounting, payment, but the deal creation process, we keep it as a manual process. The Create IR instrument Fiori app is used to create deals for your money market. Okay. Now this says the same thing. How after deal creation we have the settlement of deal. Just to give you a settlement of a deal is a very important process before we go ahead and post it to accounting. Before the reason why we have the settlement factor is it provides us a workflow. It's a sort of a workflow. If you are the person who's creating a deal and you want your deal should be validated or verified, the other person who's settling the deal is the workflow would be triggered to that person and he would be provided with the respective authorization to either settle the deal or reject it at that point. So this is the point where you can use the maker and checker concept. So this is how your uh, settle deal works. Now posting the deal means posting it to respective GL. Wherever we are requirement gathering for any sort of implementation project, we make sure that the business provides us with respective answers related to how they want to post their transactions, what all sort of GL accounts they want to post to, what will be the accounting they'll be using. Are they going to use GAAP, IFRS? All those things needs to be made clear. If there is a deal that is getting posted, it is very important we have this information in hand. Coming to money transfer is nothing but your payment. The payment process works very similar to your FICO F110 process. There is nothing much difference. The only thing that you will find different in the payment process would be that there is an important field which would be required to fill at that point of time. We will say a key number, which is an important aspect of a particular treasury deal. So that key number field is a very important field while doing an F111 transaction, which we will be using for our payments. In SAP FICO, we are using F110 for vendor payments and customer payments. For treasury payments, we will be using F111. Here we will be paying to our respective, counterparties based on the origin of our trade or origin of our deal. If it's a treasury payment, if it's a bank to bank transfer, if it is a free form payment, what sort of payment it is based on the origin of the payment we would be paying to the respective counterparty. Evaluation of deal is nothing but making sure your month end, year end evaluations are done properly of the positions, your gap, IFRS, whatever reporting needs are fulfilled, all the accruals and deferrals are taken care of, and the postings are generated properly. This is the last aspect of a entire transaction manager, which is reporting aspect, which we will see multiple Fiori apps are created for different sorts of reporting. We have the transaction reporting, position, we can see the position values, revenue analysis, the accounting, the master data, different sorts of reporting are available for us. Now, coming to the accounting part, I think this is a pretty much similar sort of case where we are posting our entries to either to a sub ledger or to a general ledger. So similar to our electronic bank statement postings where we are posting to sub ledger or general ledger, in TRM transaction manager is a basically sub ledger specialized in treasury. So whenever there is any position, we have to post to, it stores that particular information on deals and position, the position management procedure. And also the gap accounting, we have the valuations, accruals, and all the postings related to GL account derivations being stored in here. Now coming to TRM linked with typical treasury organization. This is just showing you the segregation of duties. You can see the front office would deal in all these things, the middle office would deal in all these things, and the accounting would deal in all these things. These are user based authorizations and rules provided. Now, we see that this is how the job roles and tasks and functions are divided. For money market trading, we have to capture the deals either in a fixed term deposit or a commercial paper. Then the back office would settle and do the collective processing. The accounting would post to the accounting, do the valuation of accruals and debtors, and the IT will be doing the position and reporting aspect. So this is all we have covered already. Now coming to the correspondence. Correspondence is a module which creates and any sort of document, or you can say it's a sort of message that needs to be sent inwards or outwards. So whenever we are mostly correspondence we use in forex. So when we talk about correspondence, correspondence is nothing but it can be created, received, and matched automatically. So whenever we are generating an FX deal, we create a correspondence with a particular sort of message which is in MT300 format, where we have the information related to the amount, the rate, the big codes of the parties involved, and that's how it is designed and it is sent out to the bank. And once the bank sends the invert correspondence, it is matched automatically. We configure the system in such a manner that this correspondences fit at a particular transaction, and once they match, the deal of foreign exchange gets settled automatically. So it's a very powerful tool to have an automatic quick check for forex transactions basically in SAP. Importance of authorization concept in dual triple control. Dual triple control is nothing but your workflow. It provides us a control over the process. It provides us a quick check. It provides the authority to have a control on the transaction and accept and reject. If by a person something is missed out, the workflow approval or the dual approver or the second approver or third approver could check those changes, make those changes, or transfer it back to the initial initiator and make those changes and do those changes, and then re-revert for the settlement. So it provides us a very brief, quick check of a particular transaction. So any sort of mistake can be avoided and taken care of. We will be discussing credit risk analyzers and market risk analyzers. These are the tools for analyzing different sorts of risk. The credit risk, as it says, will manage and allows to set limits for different business partners whom we are dealing with on credit basis, who are basically our traders, or therefore we limit the risk. They will be providing us or purchasing from us on a credit transaction. To limit the fault or chances of bad debts, we use the credit risk analyzer. The market risk analyzer would allow us to help and do a quick risk analysis over the market data, basically the interest rates, the exchange rates, how the future is forecasted, and how we can protect ourselves from this kind of fluctuations. This is similar cash and liquidity management, which I have already talked about. The cash and liquidity management will receive information on any TRM deal in real time manner. So, what does it mean? When I'm creating a deal and that deal is in the system, that data needs to be in the cash and liquidity management. In Cash Flow Analyzer, which is a Fiori app, you could see a real time change in the position of, like, if a deal is created, what's the status in there, what is the money inflow, outflow, it will be recorded at each place where the cash inflow or outflow hits. That is updated in the cash and liquidity management. Once that hits in there, the cash flow analyzer will show you the actual position of an inflow or outflow that has happened after that step has taken place. In case the payment goes out, there will be a quick hit at the cash and liquidity management. As and when bank sends the electronic bank statements or intraday bank statements, there will be a quick hit at the cash and liquidity management. These are basically integrated through planning levels. We will be discussing this briefly in future. Core treasury process. You can just have a quick look at the agenda where we'll be discussing the debt and investment, FX risk, and risk management process. I don't think there is something different that we are going to discuss in here. What we are going to see in the system in the next module, where we will be, configuring the entire debt and investment in our SAP system. So I would just not go very detailed in this because you know that we have discussed in the previous slides how debt works, how investment works, how is the financial market. If we buy, there are two legs of a transaction. One is the buy side, one is the sell side. If we are involved in a financial market, if the buy side is that the money market and the sell side would be the capital market, or you can say the counterparties. And if we are having an intercompany transaction, there'll be two same uh, company codes which will be transacting. Two company codes within the same company will be transacting with each other. And what are the product types that are under money market? These are the list of products under securities and trade finance, which we have already seen. So I think this is just a repetition. Now coming to Forex, what we'll be seeing that different kinds of Forex feeds like FX spot, FX forward, FX swap, cross currency swap, FX options, how they are created. All the configurations related to each of these it's completely same. You don't configure any product type of FX differently. If I am configuring FX spot, you are very well in a position to configure FX forward, FX swap, cross currency swap, FX option. So, Hadel, just for your understanding, how we are going to work is I would be configuring one of the product type, and then I would ask you to configure one of the product type at the same time so that you do the end to end process on your own. So this is how different types of FX product types work. We have FX instruments available. These are all the FX instruments. We have seen all the interest rate instruments. This is the interest rates instruments available. We have OTC swap options. So this is giving you an overall brief of the SAP defined product type screen. Just in short, it is providing you a brief description of all the interest rate instruments that are available to us. Okay.